Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out Roblox Forsaken Theory. How did every single killer die? If you don't know, basically before somebody goes into the game of Forsaken, they basically they die. They're dead. It's sad, but or maybe it's not, because they're there for a reason. But if you guys do end up enjoying this video, please make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and go check out Q Rico. He's the one who made this video that I'm reacting to, and he edits his videos pretty good, so I'll need y'all to go subscribe to him, alright? Hey, if you end up enjoying my reaction, you go subscribe to me as well. Hey, me and Rico, we both trying to hit 40,000 subscribers, so help us both out. It's funny because we watched his video about how every survivor died like a week ago, and I was like, he needs to make a killer one. Was that because of me? No, absolutely not. He was already working on it. Oh, shoot. This is feeling like an analog horror. I was thinking somebody should make an analog horror for Forsaken. Shout out Rico.
It's you know Roblox? I don't play Roblox.
Okay, guys, I followed you guys.
Follow the gram. Hey, link in the description. Follow me on Instagram, bro. Come on.
After my last video on Forsaken, I've been getting messages all over to make another one, this time highlighting the story of every killer in Forsaken.
Yep.
The only reason why I haven't been able to make the video was the same reason why I hate how the Forsaken team handles lore, and that's just because there's nothing to go off of. In my last video making a theory on the characters in the game, one of the main sources of information came from the milestone renders. It was from these renders that we were able to learn about how Dishakar was there when Shadletsky was killed in Forsaken, that Two-Time died from being poisoned by nightshades shortly after killing Az.
Yeah, they really do just sprinkle stuff. Like, you gotta actually look for it. Like, I'm gonna be honest, had I not watched this video, I would have never known half that. Because I'm just somebody, like, I don't personally look deep into things. But if there's videos about stuff like this, I'll check it out. But I'm never gonna be the one to, and I feel like that's most people. I'm never gonna be the one to go look into the shadows myself.
You know this, but the only killers with milestone renders are these two. And you know, at that point, I might as well just shove it up my because there's no information between these two.
Yeah.
And it was like that
okay,
up until
well,
the Halloween
alright.
that introduced Guest 666, and not only that, but more milestone skin renders, which was basically my only chance at making any progress last video. Along with that, we're gonna get some more information from some of the maps.
Okay.
And now that we have so
the
much
maps.
to go off of, that's kind of why I was holding off on making this video.
Okay, so he was waiting for the update.
Available, I'm able to bring a comprehensive theory that might not be total. So today I'm gonna try my hand at solving Forsaken's lore, and if I don't get it right, I'm not gonna take any advice. And
I liked his last video.
For them. Oh yeah, and off topic, but we got the map
I feel like he did good.
House roleplay added to Forsaken. I suggested this map to be added in my video a few months back, and it ended up being added. So now I know you guys.
I had no clue that was from something else. I'm gonna be honest.
I see you. In the last episode, the way I did it was I started.
Okay, so right now he's thinking he's the map pad of Forsaken.
I was gonna do the same format this video, but I just totally forgot to do it while writing this video. So I also figured that having to explain a character's theoretical death is a lot more complicated, and I found that most killers were not intended to be killed before being in Forsaken. So this is more like a piecing together the circumstances that led them here, rather than saying this one got shot to death. But before we can get to that, I want to clear things up from my last video.
Okay, like the journey
you
get here.
I suggested that Elliot was killed by Cool Kid, and that the drawings of dead people on the wall in the work at a pizza place map were actually a kill count. In this part, I said that the 5 people were Jordan, Sally, Elliot, and his 2 family members.
Were you wrong?
Someone suggested that the 2 extra people could also be Lulu and 007 and 7. In my last theory, I said that for some reason Cool Kid draws himself over pictures of Elliot, so that means that this drawing of Cool Kid is meant to represent.
Yeah, I guess I didn't actually think about 007 when it actually happened.
But with this new interpretation in mind, that would make Elliot one of the dead people on the tally, likely being the smiling one, since Elliot's cheery expression is what he's most known for. And the 3 other faces are Jordan.
Bro was even happy at death. That's crazy.
7, therefore being represented by Cool Kid's drawing makes way more sense. And given that each character appears in Forsaken in some way, means that this theory is more accurate than mine in that video. With 007 and 7's lore potentially.
That does make sense. That does make sense.
I think a direction that the developers should take with his story is confirming that Cool Kid had killed his own father, therefore meaning that 007 and 7 was killed by his own creation, and that.
Oh yeah, I guess Well, the reason why I actually didn't think about him in that situation, because isn't it like a thing commonly known that he kind of, you know, did it to himself, you know?
His sins in the past had finally caught up.
So yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, you might be right, my boy. I don't know, but definitely
Up to him. Next, I just want to clarify
up in
the
the air, I
fate of
guess.
Dusakar and Shadletsky. A lot of people had questions about how Dusakar died, which, if you don't know, in my last theory, I concluded that Dusakar and Shadletsky returned to sword fight on the heights together to resurrect Shadletsky's former glory of Telamon, something that will be mentioned again later. When they arrived, they were ambushed by 1x1x1x1, and as we see in 1x's outro, Shadletsky is ultimately killed by them. In this scene, Dusakar is standing on the bridge set up above the Ring of Fire where Shadletsky is killed. Meaning the reason why 1x1 looks up at the end of the animation is because
Dusakar is
they're
up there?
staring down Dusakar.
Oh
Dusakar
my
is positioned
goodness.
on the only bridge in the sword fight on the heights map. It's also the only bridge that's directly above the Ring of Fire.
That's good mapping
where
right there.
1x1 is looking. The last milestone shows Dusakar standing in the Ring of Fire, finally performing the respawn ritual. And the quote tells the
I will give
story
my
of
life for
Dusakar
you.
giving their own life to resurrect Shadletsky. But in the end, it doesn't.
Like I said last time, that's a real. Even though it didn't work, Dusakar, you a real
work,
person,
and
bro.
they
You're
die without
amazing.
anyone being resurrected. I had a lot of people
Especially as a Shadletsky main, bro. I'm a Shadletsky main. You know
ask
what I'm saying?
about that, so I thought I'd clarify. And with that out of the way, since we're already here, let's start with
Risked
1x1.
his life for him. Didn't even risk his life, gave his life. Oh. But I also main 1x, so I'm interested.
Character. Compared to everyone else, I don't have to do so much work, because honestly, I did this shit a month ago already. But let's look at the facts. We know at one point, Shadletsky was Telamon. This is the former glory that Dusakar refers to in their milestone skins. Telamon is an eldritch god that Shadletsky abandons early on before the events of Forsaken. It doesn't take much to understand that Telamon canonically is a fucking asshole. In the game, the canonical reason why Shadletsky can't use his sword multiple times frequently is because it disappears after one swing. Telamon, however, carries their sword throughout the entire round. It never disappears or goes away. They have it on them at all times. But the only reason why they can't swing freely is because Telamon is selfish and ignorant. When seeing their friends like Builderman and Dusakar be attacked by the killer, Telamon couldn't be bothered to use the sword for anything than themselves. While most characters have stern or frightened expressions during every round, Telamon grins constantly. He's so
a psychopath.
Ignorance and selfishness that the only reason he even uses his sword at all is because he wants to live. The fact that Shadletsky in-game cannot share chicken is essentially a form of environmental storytelling, highlighting his gluttony as Telamon. If this sounds like just a headcanon to you, it's not. It's official Roblox lore, which, if you didn't know they had that, watch
official Roblox lore
video. So, a mysterious guy with a sword who hates everyone.
I didn't know that, honestly.
Yeah, who does that sound like? Contrary to what the Forsaken developers would have you believe, Shadletsky did not create 1x1 just because he was bored. He did it to free himself from Telamon, something that wasn't just in his best interest, but his friend's interests also. As we see in all his renders and artwork, Shadletsky loves his friends way more than he loves Telamon, so he abandoned Telamon and locked the hatred and negativity away in Swordfight in the Heights, a realm that canonically is almost impossible for normal people
really
to
got
access.
like 2 sides of him, bro.
Classic Roblox game everyone is familiar with, but in the canon of Forsaken, it's almost like a pocket dimension
that everyone's familiar with. Never heard of it in my life.
Classic Roblox game everyone is familiar with, but in the canon of Forsaken, it's almost like a pocket dimension, and this is where 1x1 begins to take shape. For whatever reason, Shadletsky returns with Dusakar to restore some of Telamon's power, but when they go back, they don't find Telamon. Instead, Telamon finds them, and the story plays out the same way. Shadletsky is ambushed and killed instantly, and Dusakar sees it happen. What happens here is kind of complicated. 1x stays in the Ring of Fire, almost like he's challenging Dusakar, staring directly at him.
Of course.
But in the next render that happens at the end of this interaction, Dusakar's in the Ring of Fire already resurrecting Shadletsky. So what the fuck happened in between these two scenes?
That's a good question.
Dusakar is almost as strong as the Spectre, and power scaling him against 1x1 is basically free eats all game. In canon, Dusakar's plasma beam could vaporize anyone and anything with one zap. The only reason why Dusakar can't actually do that in the game is because most of his powers were stolen. And 1x1 is just kind of
that honestly makes no sense to me. Because, okay, how did the resurrection fail if he's way stronger than 1x? You know what I mean? He's almost as strong as the Spectre.
Their aura farming. It's almost like he has no clue who Dusakar actually is, or at the very least underestimates him. Probably the reason why we don't see a fight happen, and the reason why Dusakar never seems to have a struggle with 1x1 is because he literally just killed him instantly. 1x does just not come out of this alive, which is why
Okay, maybe I'm forgetting how he said Dusukar died. I thought he said one. I could be tripping. I thought he said 1x killed Shadletsky and Dusukar in the last video. I could be tripping. Maybe he didn't say that. Maybe I'm just making up memories. But I did hear a lot of you guys say that Dusukar just didn't die. The Spectre just was able to add him anyways. But that would... Okay, this makes more sense to me. Dusukar killing 1x if he's that strong.
Up in the Ring of Fire in the last milestone,
that makes a lot of sense,
some
actually.
Epic battle. He's just there to resurrect Shadletsky after he made quick work off of 1x.
Wow.
Since Dusukar is the last man standing at the end of this ambush, things don't feather out well for 1x1. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. 1x1 gets totally just torn to pieces by Dusukar immediately after. I think 1x1's new milestone renders.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
don't show
rewatch
them
that Survivor
existing
one
in the
again.
Real world. Their body is gravely disfigured and distorted because they're a four-dimensional object. They literally do not exist yet at the time of these milestone renders. I know the general opinion on these milestones is that they kind of look ugly, but like lore-wise it does make sense. It's only till milestone 4 when 1x1 actually exists in the same world as everyone else, and that's a very specific sword fight on the heights with a milestone 4 Shadletsky. And this throws a wrench into my original plans because now it matches with milestone 4 Shadletsky's render, and now that means there's a separate fight that Shadletsky wins, but Shadletsky never got to be at this point with the Illumina because he still died here wearing the milestone 2 skin. So which is it? I don't fucking know. I figured that since Shadletsky died early on, he never achieved this kind of power that was separate from Telamon. Milestone 4 Shadletsky is him canonically at his best, basically Telamon without his evil qualities, and that's why I think this is a figment of Shadletsky's imagination.
Okay, we go in the imagination route. Okay. I was genuinely wondering that because I was like, yeah, milestone 4 would have to be in the future, but if 1x died and then they're fighting there, that timeline doesn't make any sense at all.
This is what he wanted to happen and what he had in mind when he went back with Dusukar. I currently have a friend in jail because he did some things I don't feel comfortable talking about, but this version of him wielding the Illumina is what he would have become if he survived his encounter with 1x1. He restored his former glory like he wanted to, what was that about? Actually happened. This milestone skin is basically just a silly dream he has. Probably the only dream he has when he's dying on the floor. This milestone for Shadletsky doesn't just represent his unrelenting and unbeatable strength. It represents
his last memory,
kindness that he didn't have before.
Or his last wish.
His enlightenment, and the fact that he never reached it, no matter how hard he tried, is the last thoughts before he dies.
I like that theory. I'm not gonna lie.
And big fucking news, I was right. Last episode, I theorized that the game titled A Nightmare depicted a noob going to a haunted house and getting killed by the now deformed guest 666. I think I said 4 6s. A lot of you said, no Rico, you're fucking stupid. That's the Spectre disguised as guest because it says that noob thought the figure.
I always thought it was very apparent that it was just them. I always thought that when I first seen it in the old lore videos. I was like, cause Spectre has no reason to disguise himself if he could just get it done regardless. You know what I mean? I always thought that was a weird thought. I guess I could see why, because like the face thing, doesn't his face change at the end? I guess, but I always thought, like, you know, we're in noob's POV during this, so you know you can see some crazy stuff if you get scared. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly, I don't know why everybody was calling Rico crazy. I genuinely was thinking the same thing.
Saw in the mansion.
But I honestly, the comment section kind of got me because y'all were honestly telling me too, like, no, that's the Spectre. So I even started to believe it. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just stupid.
It was familiar, but also different. So that means it wasn't,
I was right for once.
Guest, it just looked like them. And I was like, actually, no, you're fucking stupid because we know that at this point, Guest and 666 were no longer friends. And when they stopped being friends is when Guest began to transform. So what I'm saying is that at this point, Guest didn't look like
he was already
this.
transforming?
They looked like this.
That makes even more sense. Well, he looks weird.
I connected that the face on Guest in the mansion is similar to the face on Guest 666 in-game, and therefore this is Guest mid-transformation into the beast in the game currently. And now, lo and behold, the new milestone 4 render for Noob shows Noob entering a mansion like he does in A Nightmare. And it's the exact same sleeve on Noob that appears in Guest 666 milestone 4 render in the same building. So yeah, I was right, Guest 666 killed Noob. Okay, so if that's done, what happens to Guest? Well, we all know that,
That was a
once
good
Gas
question.
becomes this massive beast, they start becoming known as an urban legend of sorts, doing things like hanging out in the woods, sneaking up on campers in cabins like we see in the intro.
Creep.
Actually, this has to have been enough of a problem
He's
for
a creep,
Roblox
mother.
HQ to get wind of it. Mainly Builderman, because depending on when this happens, he may or may not be the last admin currently living. Watch the other video if you want to know what I'm talking about. Probably the one thing that has remained canon and will potentially continue to remain canon is that Builderman was the one who banned Gas 666.
Oh.
It's unknown if there was some insane face-off or it was a combined effort with the other admins.
Wait.
But Builderman had been there.
There's not a
and was the one who was
Builderman,
victorious. Or if you want to get really silly, the Guest 666
Dang, they should've made a Builderman
update added a new
Guest,
skin for Chance
LMS.
called Big Game Hunter, which introduces an entirely new character named Lance, who's Chance's twin brother who is obsessed with hunting. This is more just a long
Lance
shot.
Chance.
But who's to say Lance wasn't just out
Long
and
shot.
about hunting for some deers or some shit and accidentally came across this beast? It's kind of complicated from here on because we know the Bandlands exists and it's basically just super hell in Roblox.
Right.
It's anyone's guess, but whatever could have happened to Guest after that is practically the way they die in our Forsaken. But enough about that. I know this is a killer's topic video, but
I don't know. I mean, I guess if there's just not enough info, he just came up with his best guess, but just Chance's brother killing him, that feels so random. That's such, like you said, a long shot. That's a shot in the dark,
let's
really.
talk more about Builderman because he's strangely important. Out of all the characters in the game, he seems to be connected to almost everybody. In some way or some form, he knows everyone.
I'm so excited for
He knows
Doombringer,
all
bro.
the admins, that's a given. But there's a very interesting detail in his Milestone 4 render. Where exactly is he standing? You know, at first I thought it was this structure on Chaos Canyon, and taking a look at it, it was kind of a match. Builderman standing on the ruins of Chaos Canyon then. Oh yeah, and for some reason he has a new custom hammer, and it's glowing with little purple sparkles in this render. That's a strange detail. It's also like he's raising it up with pride, like he just discovered it. Like he's saying, check it out, guys, I got
Thor's
this
hammer.
magic hammer. But you know what else I ended up finding? There's this game that was made a long time ago on Roblox called Here Where the World is Quiet. This is what it looks like. It's a puzzle game for a prize, a priceless Roblox item that's still sought after to this day. The design of the map is pretty tiny, to be honest, but there's some things to note. Like
I don't know why this feels
kind
kinda creepy to me.
You would be able to scale, but it spawns completely destroyed. A river of what I guess is supposed to be lava. And strangely, a small structure in the corner of the map.
Oh.
A temple. Huh.
Looks familiar.
Looks like the Chaos Canyon one, kind of. Approaching the main doors prompts a message queue. Dead dreams of days forsaken. Whatever that means. I never finished the game, and at first it
Okay.
didn't actually remind me of anything. But when I was playing on the map Tempest, I noticed something. There's a lot of fucking thunder. As of the Guest 666 update, the map was actually updated so loud bursts of lightning and thunder would constantly play. And that's when it started to connect for
Alright.
me. The river with a dangerous substance, the ruined tower, the discolored and dried trees, and that constant lightning and thunder.
Why would this be connected, though?
And hey, I think I forgot to mention what the grand prize was to those who solved Where the World is Quiet. You know what it was? The Void Star.
Stole.
Oh, it's Noli's map. Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we know. The map
Whoa, bro. Why am I so excited to learn how Noli died? I'm a Noli hater, bro. I want to see how he
Okay,
died.
so here's what we know. The map Tempest is a recreation of Here Where the World is Quiet.
I
Not a
didn't-
one-to-one
that's crazy,
recreation, but the
but
similarities are too big
they're
to
there.
ignore. These
They're
are
there.
the same locations
They're
one
there.
way or another. The grand prize of Here Where the World is Quiet was the Void Star, and in the last puzzle, you would open the door to the temple at the edge of the map and retrieve the mysterious object. This
Right.
is what that object looks like, by the way. The Void Star, which was the grand prize for this event, is the main attribute of Noli. You basically win the Void Star from this temple. Or in the context of Forsaken's lore, the Void Star comes out of this temple. And to add on to that, Noli takes on a form that includes the color purple. Purple like the sparkles on his hammer. Remember what I said about Builderman just now, how it looks like he's holding up the hammer?
Man, I called me a blind man, but that does look blue to me.
As to say, look what I found, as he's standing over the remains of a temple that we know in some way was used to contain the Void Star. Because if we look at how the temple is supposed to look like versus what it looks like as Builderman is leaving from it, it looks like he basically destroyed it. It's literally ruined. It's pillaged. Builderman decimated an ancient
Right.
structure to retrieve this treasure. And you know how I know this
Wow, he just
hammer
tore it
is
down.
something that's treasured? This statue of Noli in the Tempest map is holding a hammer right next to
Bro, wait, okay. Yeah, he might actually be onto something. Okay, if this is all planted by the Forsaken devs, okay, because, like, wrapping this all together, This is good. This is my favorite theory so far. This is really good. I'm not gonna lie.
The other statues of Noli
That all really, it like all vaguely connects. That's actually pretty good.
that are holding equally
What the
valuable
heck?
items like swords and
What the heck, bro? Yeah, if this is all playing about Forsaken devs and he figured this out, that's cool. That's cool.
crescendos. And what does that hammer kind of resemble? I found the actual gear on the Roblox
Builderman's
catalog and
hammer.
it never had that handle that matches up with the statues. I'm telling you, this is connected. Builderman should not be in this temple if he has to destroy it, but he's here anyway. So enough beating around the bush.
Why would he want it,
Builderman
though?
just plundered the temple encapsulating the Void Star, and now, for whatever reason, the hammer that he didn't have until now is glowing purple. So Builderman, in his ignorance,
Blue.
downplaying the raw strength of Doombringer, his inability to see that Shadletsky was keeping 1x1 a secret from him until it was too late, has yet again added another foolish action to his resume. He set Noli free. Noli never had to have been Forsaken. He's a willing participant in the games. He
Wow.
doesn't need to die to be in Forsaken. He probably just showed up once Builderman freed him. The map Tempest is Noli's interpretation of the world he once lived in. There's statues of him, his face, his
So it's not really even the place. It's just like what Noli's
colors all
thinking
over
of
the
it.
place. We know
That's
this isn't actually
crazy.
what the world looks like, but of course, because of his ego,
I like this
it's
theory.
what he wants it to be. Noli is extremely narcissistic with the main desire to be famous and popular. Remember those really like strange, ominous messages that the Forsaken devs posted when he was about to be released?
Yeah.
That has significance now. Builderman probably has no clue at all that he's the reason why Noli is
He doesn't
just
even know. He just got his
set free.
hammer.
With all the
He just got his
evidence
hammer, he was
connecting
out of
these
there.
two worlds, it only starts making more and more sense where this hammer is actually from and why it's glowing purple. If you think this is an insane reach, it is, but do you have a better idea on it? I didn't fucking think so. It's not a
Honestly, I guess you could see it as a reach. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about that theory. That's easily my favorite one, though.
perfect theory, but I do think there's a connection here.
Like, yeah,
So,
there's
are we at
something
least
there.
Done with Builderman now?
No.
I think the extreme
No.
misfortune of making these videos is that even when there is material to use, there's actually not any material to use. I'm relying on breadcrumbs to stay afloat. And that's going to be the case again with John Doe. John Doe is an interesting
Jonathan
character.
Doe.
He wasn't lied to about what Forsaken is and is inherently evil. Only reason why he does the things he does is because he's got that super cancer thing growing on him. This corruption he has is basically the reason why he is the way he is. Every movement he makes and every time he attacks someone, he's basically a prisoner in his own body. And whatever it is, it's sentient too. It talks for him. Look, you can see that on the wall in Haunted Hotel or whatever it's called. It's not like a Venom thing where he's poisoned. It's more of like a digital thing. It has the little ones and zeros on it. So it's some kind of code. As always, John Doe's milestones are going to be the key to piece together his story once again. And it's pretty straightforward, displaying the progression of John Doe's disease from the perspective of his wife and upcoming survivor, Jane Doe. The first render is him opening the door into presumably his home or his property. On the floor there's a broken picture of him and his wife, and the quote is taken directly from Jane. I couldn't help but notice
Dang.
John is wearing work clothes and stuff he didn't have on before. And the way this is picture is
Bro
taken,
was
it's
really
like
just
he's
a
coming
normal
home from
guy.
work,
Yeah.
freshly infected with this corruption. Jane
That's
talks
crazy.
a lot about John Doe, talking about how this infection changed him, and this is the same deal up until level 4, where it doesn't come from Jane anymore. It just says a suit worn at funerals and celebrations. So
Ooh.
that's what John's wearing in this render then. Whose funeral is John Doe at though? The second render
Oh.
of John Doe shows him standing over someone with a pale arm the same color as his skin,
His wife?
holding a picture of him and Jane Doe.
Oh.
We can't see who this person is, but knowing who John Doe likely went to in his final moments of being able to control himself, and knowing that only Jane would be in possession of this picture, it couldn't be further from the truth who this actually is. Jane Doe dies
Dang.
here, killed by her own husband against both of their
Dang.
wills. Jane Doe holds up a picture of them, hoping he will remember her in some
That
way.
is so
and
sad.
knowing that by some miracle he will
That is so
recognize her
sad.
and take back control of his body. But John Doe can't control
The
himself
virus is
anymore
just
as
that
much as he
freaking
wants
crazy,
to.
huh?
And the next time we see that photograph, it's molded into his face. It's rotten and tinged with blood, and the corruption has completely taken him over. This is effectively
Yuck.
where John Doe's story ends, as the next time we see John Doe, he's virtually unrecognizable.
So could you just say like the virus itself just killed him? Like, could you say that? Because if it's to the point where it's not him anymore, he's dead, right? In a way, I don't know. Maybe
Living
there's
in
something
a
more to
brutal
it though.
brick fortress with the corruption rapidly growing around him. and that's where his story ends. It's not ever explained what caused him to become infected with this one day, but here's what we know about it. It's conscious and exists with a will independent of John's. It can talk, but it mostly prefers to just scream. There's a detail on the kill animation at milestone 3 and 4 where the arm has a mouth that opens and catches the survivor. So not only are they being impaled, but they're also having their organs eaten. So we know this thing needs to be fed so it can survive. What this is I'd say a variant of some kind of script that Guest 666 possessed. That kind of coincides with the
What infects John Doe is a sentient exploit script similar to the virus that infects Guest 666. The script applies itself to a host and uses their body to sustain itself, affecting the host's mental and physical capabilities.
2017 John Doe script.
That's sad,
which,
man.
If you don't know, is basically what Forsaken's John Doe is based off of. This parasite on John Doe's body is basically an injected script.
Is that just the John Doe lore for Forsaken? That's gotta be just it for Forsaken, because I don't know. I just remember like John Doe when I was younger, because John Doe been around for a hot minute, bro. When I was younger, when I was a kid on Roblox 10 plus years ago, whatever it may be, like I just remember him being like, it was just like a hacked account, simple as
Business
that.
casual attire.
So I don't know if that's actually
from work. But where does John Doe
what
work?
it is all around. I mean,
facing where infectious scripts that can destroy Roblox just are around and they're easy to access.
Or an account that'll hack you or whatever.
Other than Roblox HQ itself. In John Doe's intro and outros, he starts
Roblox
off standing
HQ.
in front of the Roblox HQ, and in Forsaken canon, we know Roblox HQ is where all the information and research on anomalies like Guest 666 and Slasher is stored.
Why was Tom there? Is there an actual Tom skin?
Sometimes these vulnerabilities get out and have disastrous consequences. So is it far-fetched to say that John Doe was a Roblox employee accidentally infected with this virus? The actual John Doe account was a test account made by Roblox employees, and we already know from Cool Kid that Forsaken lore adapts alternate accounts into certain dynamics. In this context, it would make the real John
Doe account still up?
Eric Castle translate seamlessly
That's
into
crazy.
a Roblox employee. Even if John didn't contract this virus from Roblox HQ directly, it's clear this is where the corruption began. What significance Builderman has to this is not yet known.
Builderman has a habit of showing up in John Doe renders? That's true. More renders of John and Builder exist.
And
one
there's
X
not enough
and
information to
wow.
draw a concrete answer. But considering what we have found out about Builderman all across these two videos, I wouldn't be surprised if John Doe's corruption turned out to be another one of his disasters. I'm gonna take this little intermission to clear up Cool Kid and Azarath because I totally forgot to mention them this entire video. Azarath was killed by 2-Time. This is pretty much common knowledge, and I don't have to put a hat on a hat with this one. Cool Kid ends up having uniquely less lore than his adoptive father, but as he grew to become more and more of a capable threat, I would say it's easy to assume that, like Guest 666, he put himself in the crosshairs of the admins, and funnily enough, this mirrors what actually happened to the real Cool Kid account that just got permanently banned one day. So there goes Cool Kid, I guess. Now let's cut up to years later or years before on the opposite side of the world. Here's what actually happened to the real Cool Kid account that just of the admins, and funnily enough, this mirrors what actually happened to the real Cool Kid account that just got permanently banned one day. So
being banned counts as dying?
So there goes
or is that
Cool
what
Kid,
nobody's
I
saying?
guess. Now let's cut up to years later or years before on the opposite side of the world with Slasher. Slasher exists in a very interesting
I low-key
time
forgot
period.
about
At this
Slasher.
point in the story, there's a war going on, and while it's easy to connect the entire story to The Last Guest, it's a little bit more complicated than that, as Forsaken's canon does not follow The Last Guest as closely. But there's a war going on between Robloxia and the Bacon Empire, and it's a war that Builderman is profiteering. Holy fuck, this guy's an awful person. We know that the reskin of the Underground War map is where Slasher is captured. Slasher's life fucking sucks,
Bacon War?
not even gonna lie. He gets tortured in Area 51, but in this facility stores the Necrobloxicon, and this turns out to be what gives him his powers. The Necrobloxicon is essentially what controls Slasher. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's more of a killer than Slasher is. If the Forsaken devs want to adapt this Roblox limited hat into a fully fledged
71,000 Robux.
Remember earlier when I said that Roblox HQ has to have
about
$700 of myths, scripts, and anomalies? Well, the existence of the Necrobloxicon in Area 51.
Area 51 is canonically attached to Roblox AQ. Fun fact, my grandpa actually worked at Area 51. Just saying. That means I got intelligence in my genes. Okay? Just letting you know. Builderman's workplace. The facility houses and experienced Bacon prisoners of war meaning it does not belong to the Bacon Empire and is instead a Roblox.
It's pretty much a confirmation. Okay. That's about all that is really significant about Slasher's story, but after he's contained in Area 51, he makes friends with Jeff the Killer and Slender Man, and eventually they flee the facility.
We did see that.
Say that again?
That's kind of funny, in a way.
It's very ambiguous, especially considering that they have little to no connection to any survivors in the game. But the map Horror Hotel shows that they at least stayed together for a while, hopping from location to location as fugitives. Horror Hotel in Forsaken lore is probably exactly that, a haunted hotel for demented people. On a positive note, I'd say these three are the only ones who ended up getting to live free. I don't think they would have ever gotten caught or banned. They lived free up until the events of Forsaken, and that's all I have to say about them. Okay. And with that, I think we're going to reach the end of the video finally. And there's some interesting takeaways, mainly that Forsaken's lore fucking sucks. Kind of.
Fair. Alright, y'all, I'm going to end this video here. If you guys did enjoy, let me know. Did you like it? Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Go check out Rico. I will have to say Noli is my favorite, like, theory from this. I mean, the others were kind of... They were all good in their own right, but Noli's one, I could literally see that being true. The hammer reveal, I was like, okay, he got something. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. What was your favorite theory? And, you know, do you think they're all true or what? What do you guys think? Let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!